I don't get it in Ahsoka as much. Like I don't understand how it works in that episode. Um, and I kind of almost interpret that episode as just sort of being a almost not necessarily like her being physically in the world between worlds, but in some weird like mental fugue state in the
Yeah, that's
force.
kind of what I get out of it more too. It's kind of like Harry Potter in the train station when he gets killed. It's like you have the option. You can go to the afterlife and just give up the fight. You've done your part, or you can get back into the fight. And that's kind of where Ahsoka was too, because that's not Anakin. That's not like
Oh,
Anakin's spirit or soul or whatever you want to call it. That's Anakin projected from Ahsoka.
okay.
That's how I see it. It is Anakin because he's talking to her. He calls her Snips, which is the only payoff to that horrible nickname from the
Eh.
cartoon. Um, but he only knows what she knows, and then when they get into the Siege of Mandalore, he's unfamiliar with it because they had separated by then. But he's only a representation to her because if this was Anakin literally after his redemption, after not being Darth Vader anymore, why would he get the Sith eyes and the red lightsaber and like flash into the Vader costume when he's walking on the bridge? Like he became a Force spirit. He put all that behind him. He became one with the Force. You know, he killed the ego, like we were talking about last week.
Okay, that makes sense. And it kind of maybe makes the his appearance at the end of the series a little more meaningful if that's actually his force spirit that's going to commune with Ahsoka
That
in
I
the
believe it is.
future.
It's weird. It's kind of like a having your cake and eating it too moment where I think what everything I just said about him in the world between worlds, that's what I read it to be. But also the Anakin spirit or consciousness is aware of it because he is trying to teach her lessons. So it's not totally separated from him, but I think he only responds and acts in a way that would be useful and familiar to her.
Okay.
It's weird to do. It's kind of like doing it both because at the end when he appears as a Force spirit, it'd be way too weird of a coincidence if he had no idea about the interaction of the world between worlds and just happened to show up to her for the first time at this time.
I kind of like though it not being his spirit. I think I want to read it that way, that it's just Ahsoka trying to find her path because I think until that point in the series, she is just kind of going through the motions with
Well, that's why she's so like dour and depressed in the beginning of her live action
yeah,
series.
and it's almost her looking to Anakin for guidance and really the only and through going through her brain the lessons that she learned, in the Clone Wars and really the only lesson he could teach her is that there's only one choice. There are two choices with, how you act is live or die. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
all he could teach her. And she chooses to live naturally. But that's like, but even in that, he's overly simplifying things too. And I think she points that out throughout talking with him that there's not just, live or die. Like there's other things you can be doing as well. And forming
Yeah,
connections and reaching out through the force to form connections. Yeah.
yeah. That's why I think he's more of a projection from her than he is his own individual entity. Um, Especially given that this is kind of in the same realm of the Mortis gods, the Force priestesses, Bendu, where they are things that exist on their own, but they are also avatars in a way that the characters who need them can process them at that time. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe.
No stakes and no change often means bad Star Wars. And that's why the sequels kind of, and they're not good for a lot of reasons, but the fact that without any explanation are just like, oh yeah, the revolution failed. That's just sort of glossed over where it's
Yeah, it's
like,
like, you know,
yeah,
the thing that you spent your whole life being a fan of? Never mind.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh yeah, you remember that the three movies that you love dearly, none of that what they did matters because the bad guys just came back.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, no, um I think it's important that Star Wars keeps the revolutionary roots where it's like, no, people die, we need to fix things, like things need to change, and it's
Also,
yeah.
for it being, as George Lucas has said and is often quoted online,
Yeah.
for 12-year-olds, it's great opportunities to teach people about life and loss and appreciating the time you did have and how to cope with it and things like that. So I don't need a main character to be dying every season or every movie or something like that, but just like with Kanan's eyesight, the live action Ahsoka series, Sabine gets bested in a lightsaber duel by Shin, and she should have. She should have been outclassed, even though she's a Mandalorian, and she gets stabbed. And it wouldn't have been so bad if there weren't so many stabbings where people survive lightsaber stabs. Why not have her hand get cut off? That's a Star Wars thing, and I thought it would have been even cooler with her being a Mandalorian. She could get a Beskar hand. Then she could catch a lightsaber. Like, you could do so many cool things that are cool for the sake of cool, but also feels more permanent. Like, oh, they cut her arm off. Like, is that the first episode or the second? Like, right away. Things like that I think need to happen a bit more. And as I say that, I'm going to be totally hypocritical because Ahsoka's died like 4 times.
Right. Well, that's when I want you to explain to me why this isn't the case. I get it. I think in the World Between Worlds episode, why Ezra can't save Kanan. Um, like they do a good job of explaining it, but I kind of am annoyed that it's Ahsoka being like, "No, don't save him," and I'm like, "But I just saved you. Like, what? Why can't I save? Like, why can't I save
Yeah.
him?" And I know it's because, and it is like a split second when he like has to let go of the flames to push the ship out of the way. And it like Ezra would have to be really fast in order to grab Kanan at that moment versus with Ahsoka. But still, like he's fast enough to grab Ahsoka, and I'm like, why not try to grab him? But it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well, I think it's like those like ripple effects in time travel. Whenever you're dealing with time travel, like there's no hard and fast rules. Obviously, it's all hypothetical.
yeah,
My understanding of it is one, there was way more time because it was a guy swinging a sword at another person, so he had time to
right,
pull her out. And two, they were alone in that room. For all we know, Ahsoka doesn't die there, and he, cuts her arm off and leaves her to bleed out, or what we don't actually know. The
yeah,
assumption is Vader kills her, sure,
yeah,
but it doesn't change. There was no ripple effect around it. She gets pulled out. Maybe the only ripple effect would be like Vader's like, I just saw this kid jump through a portal. Pull my Padawan. What? Like, and he would have a lot of
yeah,
questions for Palpatine. Um,
yeah,
but the Kanan thing would be if you pull him out of that moment, you all die in the ghost. Then you're not here to pull me out, and you're not here to pull him out. What is it? Alternating timelines? Is it the bootstrap time theory where time is cyclical and the same decisions have always happened? You know what I mean?
yeah. You're right, and I think even Ahsoka gets that she has to go back, even if it means that she dies. Like she sort of knows, like I have to go back to the where you pulled me out of, and let fate decide what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
Because she doesn't go with him then into the future. She goes back to her time because she understands that. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, thanks for explaining it.
Well,
I
I
think,
also think there's
yeah,
more to it with the Mortis gods. Because
yeah,
Ahsoka dies in the Mortis arc also, and then they take the energy of the daughter, the avatar of the light side, and put it inside her. And then you have Morai, that little owl thing. And we had just texted about it a couple days ago, but Morai was the Greek god of destiny. And Ahsoka says, I owe this little guy my life. Morai is also the same coloring as the daughter. So the daughter is in Ahsoka, but also guiding her. And I feel like that's part of the reason why she could access the world between worlds again in the live action when she kind of dies again, is because she has this, I don't know, demigod kind of ability in her. I mean, they're not literal gods, but just to describe it easily. That's more me putting something on it than what I think was in the show. I think my first explanation was all in the show. The daughter being part of her, I think, comes into play in why she can access it again without it being a strictly made physical portal.
yeah. I agree. I think that's a cool way of looking at it. I think, yeah,
What
I agree
also
with
helps
that.
to describe why she's not dead.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Yeah, no, I like though what it says about letting go and accepting, you know, what happened, and also understanding that this is a part of grieving is, bargaining, trying to figure out if there's a way to change what already happened so that
Yeah.
things can go back to the way that they were. Um,
Yeah, and as much as I
yeah,
like Kanan as a character, and like he's got a kid out there now, and Hera's kind of on her own, and it's sad. it does mean more that he gave his life knowing it was permanent.
Yeah. And he gets to, and it's also sweet in the show that, you know, the Force is preparing him for the sacrifice. And like there's this understanding through the Loth Wolves that, there's going to be like that he has to, like, sacrifice himself for everyone. So he gets to prepare, gets to tell people how he feels and everything, which is so sweet.
Yeah, he
And
also kind of
so,
gets to complete his arc where his blindness is him letting go of the physical self and becoming one with the Force and all that. And he didn't get the specific training to come back as a Force spirit, but he's in the living or cosmic Force and he's at peace as much as he can be, knowing that he left people behind.
yeah, I think, yeah, I like that there's a nice like a nice meditation on life and death in this episode.